I think when you're taking your critic's voice, it is very important for you to decipher the objective in the criticism. And like we have said, criticism is good, whether coming from, a bad place or from a good place and space, you can make use of it. And what I've figured and that I would want other campaigners to know is that there's constructive criticism and there's criticism that just comes from malice. And you have then to understand how to deal with both. For me, there was constructive criticism that I took along the way in the campaign and had to find ways to improve the messaging of the campaign or the delivery of the campaign, working with the agency where we had to take detours, where we had to pivot. It was because of critics and criticism coming in. And I'll just give examples. I think I have about 2 examples in terms of really understanding the objective of the criticism. The people that I would trust when they come with their, critique of the work that I'm doing, I know it's coming from the right place. They want to see improvement. And one of them was we were supporting a radio program for the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Information. So every Wednesday during drive time, he will come in. We had how far questions targeted at each sector. It could be education, health, and the like. But when we engaged with the radio station, we had said we have different permanent secretaries coming in. So if it's to do with how far questions on education, we have the permanent secretary. If it has to do with education, and it would go like that. But the Ministry of Information then took the whole program because they are the spokesperson, the minister of the permanent secretary in the information ministry is the spokesperson for government. So he was then answering to all the questions. And I had colleagues in the civil society space and outside saying, but are you not just giving them, airtime on a silver platter where they are going to be bragging about what the government is doing? There is need to be a counter narrative and a counter voice within that. But from the conversation that we had with the radio station, the permanent secretary was not going to have any of that. So that was criticism in terms of that program and supporting that program. And I did not take it, in bad taste and that it was coming from bad faith. I totally understood that we needed a counter voice and narrative to the permanent secretary's voice on that program, but that was not going to happen. So we had to find ways of saying, how do we take that conversation off the permanent secretary's program to other platforms? Then we are able to critique, we are able to seek for more answers. So we had to create a new field of dealing with what you would have said in the morning. So it could be on our Twitter space, it could be on our Twitter post, or it could be on the community radio. Community radios that we engaged for the campaign. So I think constructive criticism makes you think, wiser in terms of how to deal with it, even when it's very difficult or it is outside your control in terms of how to deal with such an issue. But there is also malice that you're just like, I don't understand this. I had a very close friend of mine who would come to my Twitter inbox and say, so you have your billboards with all these questions. So when the government has answered to any of your questions, are you going around to tick or to remove that question and say this question has been answered? And that sounds very good. That, of course, when we have been answered, we have to remove the question, right? But then I said, okay, yeah. We'll acknowledge all the answers that will come from government. Definitely we do accept them. But I think the questions that we have asked are timeless. They're questions that can remain as a reminder, of things that have to happen. And the next message is, I think this is just all about grandstanding. Make as much money as you can while the campaign can run. It's like, what money am I making out of this campaign? I'm not making any money out of it. We are actually putting our lives at risk. We are putting in so much in terms of effort and everything. So this is not about my personal agenda. This is a bigger agenda. As you can see, so many people have taken it and caught up with it. So you need to be able to decipher and what energy each critic is bringing into this the whole ball of questions and of your campaign. So I think you need to understand that. And maybe my key takeaway is that allow criticism at the ideas level and not at a personal level. I think if you take critics and criticism at a personal level, it can literally wear you down to the point where you can just leave the campaign, you can sidetrack the campaign, it can lose its focus and the bigger picture. So you need to understand that you're going to take critics at the ideas level, and it's not going to turn personal. If it's an idea that is being critiqued, that is being interrogated, listen to it, see how you can improve on your ideation, see how you can improve on your narrative, but remain in control. Critics must not make you lose control of the narrative and the discourse. You must remain in control. And one of the ways to do it, I think, is ensuring that every critique and every criticism is not just throwing problems at you.
True.
A campaign does not need you to be facing problems. It should be giving you solutions, not problems. Because usually the problems are already defined in the motivation of your campaign. So what you need are contributions that will exist for you to be able to improve on the campaign. So if I get criticism, for example, after my public appearance with the permanent secretary, I'll continue to refer to that because I think that was one of the biggest ones. Someone says, so go specific now on your research. Focus just on energy, have conversations on all the energy mega deals that the government has gotten into, so that you're not touching on the different aspects of corruption happening in the different sectors and ministries. I take that as constructive criticism and as a solution being offered that we can actually go deeper and in depth on each of the specific issues and get our answers. So I think it's important for you to actually invite criticism that brings solutions. And you must not shy away from criticism if you are a campaigner. You must not shy away from critiques if you are a campaigner. But you have to be able to still stick your guns in terms of the idea, in terms of the objective of your campaign. You have to also know how you're going to respond to your critics. I think that is very key and important. If you don't have answers to your critics, like we say, there is vampire energy. I think criticism can just bring this sapping of energy. So you need to know how you respond to your critics. You need to know that there is time and space for each response. You're not going to respond every time and at any time. You're not going to respond in any space and at any platform. So there's time and space for every response that you're going to give to your critics. We have a critique that we have put on hold on How Far 2.0. A critique of a billboard. Fair and fine. We are on 2.0. We've relaunched the campaign. And someone goes on a billboard, goes, to town.
Ballistic.
Ballistic about the billboard. It is good. It is good to have that kind. So it helps us to improve. We are a learning people. Even if you stop learning as an institution, as an individual, that is where you die. But you then have to know that, where is this coming from? What battle are we fighting here? This billboard has been there, or actually it is one that has received quite a lot of positive energy and positive responses. But there's someone who comes in and says, no, this billboard is designed, it's complicated, it's all this, it's all, it's a whole lot of, a thesis is written about your billboard. And they're like, so do I respond now? But we said, no, let's wait for time and space for us to be able to respond, because we don't want to sidetrack and to take our campaign to scrutiny at this point. What we want is easy delivery.